So welcome everyone. I'm Anthony Stanley, your Director of Distribution and Revenue Management.
Morning everyone, Matt Taylor, General Manager of Marketing.
Peter Doherty, your Senior Sales Manager.
This morning we're going to share with you a story which is all about our strategies and plans to increase and drive more direct business to your hotels in 2018. But before we get on to 2018, Matt's going to share with us the champ results and the key facts and figures around the program today. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Anthony. What an exciting time it is to be alive, with the world changing at a rapid rate that's simply hard for any of us to believe. Just last month, Qantas flew one of their new Dreamliners from LA to Melbourne, fueled entirely by biofuel, made from 24,000 kilograms of mustard seeds. Late last year, Mexican food outlet Guzman y Gomez partnered with Google to launch the first test of a drone delivery service in Australia. It was highly successful, and with the arrival of likes of Amazon on Australian shores and other brands pushing the boundaries with this type of technology, it'll only become more common. Recently, we've also seen the rise of the cryptocurrency. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple, and others, all really challenging and disrupting the financial sector like never before. In December, Bitcoin had a market cap of over $450 billion. Equivalent to the likes of Facebook and Amazon. I'm sure you've all read and know that this has certainly come back a little bit in recent weeks. But I read just the other day that a brand such as World Vision is now starting to accept payment via Bitcoin. I don't think any of us could have ever imagined that would be possible. To our industry, the travel and accommodation industry, we're certainly no stranger to this type of disruption either. For a long time, we've spoken about the rise of the OTAs, Airbnb, the sharing economy, and the new expectations that our guests have of our rooms and of our properties. There's even rumours of brands in our industry trying to use blockchain technology, which is essentially that same principle that's going about powering all of those cryptocurrencies. So it's for all of these reasons and many more that over the last 12 months, we've asked you to join us as we open the door to widespread change across all of our marketing programs. Champ, Choice Hotels Advanced Marketing Program. Yes, we asked you for an additional contribution, and for that we're extremely grateful for your support, so a big thank you to you all. Yes, we also asked you to believe in us, and we asked you to change your thinking, and in turn, we've also had to change ours. Now, it wasn't because what we were doing wasn't working, but more so because we wanted to ensure we could stay ahead of the pack. Ensure that you could continue to run profitable businesses without the worry of rising distribution costs from third parties and OTAs. So what I want to tell you this morning is that what we've embarked on in the last 12 months is absolutely working. We're driving significant movement through all of our key KPIs. And this morning, I want to share 5 numbers with you. 3 million, 150,000, 1.6 million, 16, and 103. What do they all mean? Well, let's take the time to go through them all in a bit of detail. We'll start with 3 million. Trent mentioned it yesterday, and this is essentially the value of advertising that we've had against all of our brands in the last 12 months. Now, to think we've actually only spent 1.3, it's a great result. And it's really this dramatic increase in advertising spend which has gone towards allowing us to completely rethink how we position the Choice Hotels brand in this region to ensure we can all be successful. A little over 12 months ago, we undertook a range of different research studies and looked at a whole series of data, all to try and pinpoint a new niche market that we could go after, capitalise on, and own for ourselves. We started to understand that Aussies and Kiwis have a real appetite for wanting to get away and take short breaks of 1 to 3 nights. And when we looked at the market and looked at what the rest of our competitors were doing, we started to understand that strangely no one else was really targeting this specific segment. And when we have one of the largest portfolios of properties in this entire region, well, it simply makes sense. It makes sense that we go after this segment and really try and capitalise on it. We also found out that Aussies and Kiwis aren't using their accrued annual leave. And whilst this is a societal problem, we really feel that we can use this as leverage to motivate people to get away and take these short breaks in the first place. Lastly, we also understood that the impact that the busy lives that we're all living is having on our health. Australians and New Zealanders right now have some of the highest rates of mental health issues in the developed world. So it's from all of these insights that we then sat back and started to rethink and redesign how the Choice Hotels brand should be positioned for future success for all of us. We went about creating and launching an award-winning TV commercial, which saw an ordinary office descend into chaos when quite normal workers had simply had enough. The commercial ending with one of these office workers literally lighting up the photocopier and pushing it out through the building window. We included humour into this commercial, and it was a long way from anything that we'd previously put into market. It was also quite unexpected by our competitors. You know what, that's what we're after, because ultimately it delivered cut-through. It had impact and it got people talking about our brands. We then went on and put together a media schedule that was unique, that was strategic, and that was innovative. It included a 12-month partnership with Channel 9's Today Breakfast Show. We had our TV commercials air across Channel 9 nationally, and then also in all regional markets in Australia across Prime 7 and Southern Cross 10. Over in the New Zealand market, the same TV commercials aired on TVNZ1 and TVNZ2. We actually wrapped and branded an entire Jetstar plane. And you know, some 8 months later, that plane is still flying in the air today. It's been all over Australia and New Zealand. In the last month, it's made over 50 flights, going up to Cairns, across to Perth, down to Launceston, over to Christchurch, Mackay, up into the Sunshine Coast, Sydney, and many more. We executed a large format outdoor billboard campaign. We sponsored the traffic segment of the Hamish and Andy radio show. We had digital display advertising run across the Spirit of Tasmania all year. In the New Zealand market, we undertook a live morning TV breakfast activation on live TV. Over in Napier, a really successful day for the brand. And then we supported all of this with digital programmatic advertising, PR, and an all-new social media approach. And you know what? The best news to come from all this is that in 2017, our brands were then seen over 100 million times by Australians and New Zealanders. 100 million. I think that's an absolutely phenomenal result. The second number I want to share with you this morning is 150,000. This is the number of people we've had visit the needabreak.com platform since launch last June. Averaging over 25,000 people per month, we really couldn't be happier with how this site's going. It's certainly far exceeded our expectations. I'm sure most of you understand how important this site has been to giving us leverage to be able to inspire and influence people to take these short breaks. I need you all, however, to think about the site potentially a little bit differently. I need you to think about it as an influence channel, as opposed to just a straight conversion channel. Since launching, we've spent a lot of time and money on data and attribution modelling to really understand the booking journey that people go on when making their booking back through our proprietary channels. We know people along this journey have many different touch points with our brands. Need a Break is absolutely often one of those touch points, but isn't necessarily the touch point that goes on to lead to the converted booking. Along that whole journey, however, it's definitely helped to influence that person to make the end booking back through the choice channels as opposed to an OTA or third party. Now, there's some really other great encouragement that's coming through with Need a Break as well. For example, where we've got our bounce rate of the site to, down to as low as 38%. For those of you who are unaware, a bounce rate is essentially the percentage of people who come to your site and then leave within the first few seconds. For that to be below 40% for a travel or a content site is well below industry averages and one that we're really proud of. Also, our engagement rate, not this type of engagement, but essentially how people are going about interacting with all of the content that we're publishing to the site. On average, people are almost viewing 3 content articles every time they come to the site. So that tells us that it's certainly the content that we're putting up there is informative and wanted by all of these people. And it's really going towards helping to influence those end bookings coming back through the choice channels. The next two numbers I want to share with you are all about the choice channels. In 2017, we had over 1.6 million people visit these channels, an increase of almost 20% on the year before. This then went on to influence a 16% increase in the reservations that we drove to all of your properties in 2017 through these particular channels. We really feel this is a great result and really puts us in a great position moving into 2018. Now, I say this off the back that initially the focus for Champ and the Need a Break campaign was actually more about trying to increase our brand's recognition and awareness. I think we've also driven a really strong reservations increase. We're absolutely wrapped with that. Talking about that brand side of things, however, we do want to make sure that what we're doing has had impact. So just recently we've undertaken a new brand study to ultimately measure the prompted and unprompted awareness levels of our brand in market today. Some of you may recall some 18 months ago, I spoke about another study that we did back then. This was leading into the whole rollout of the Champ program so that we knew back then where our brand sat against all of our competitors. This new study then was, I guess, to measure the impact since then. And this is where the final number comes from this morning, 103, which is the percentage increase in brand recognition, specifically unprompted brand recognition, where anyone in marketing will tell you that's the greatest measure of success that we've had in the last 12 months. I think we've doubled this when the same study also showed us that majority of our competitors have either gone backwards or at best remain status quo, is an absolutely terrific result. So with all of these positive results, we're now driven to move into phase 2 of the strategy, where we turn on all of our revenue generating channels.
Well, I hope you agree from what you've heard so far about what Champ's achieved year to date. We've got a really good platform on which to drive and reach that ultimate goal of increasing room nights into your properties. So how do we go about that? Well, we really see it as a three-pronged approach. It involves sales, it involves marketing, and it involves franchise services. From a sales point of view, the first thing we're going to do is aggressively go after the SME market. There is huge opportunity there. We know that the SME market is a really good fit for our hotels. So Pete and his team will actively seek out more business from this key market. We're going to give a real push to corporate charge because we also know that there's a good fit there because we see so many companies still doing direct bill. So that's one strategy. Number 2 is to increase the number of RFPs, tenders, that we deliver to hotels in 2018. Not only more RFP opportunities, but also making sure that that business that we do win is producing as promised. And if it's not, we'll apply the pressure to get what you were promised, more room nights. And the third strategy is all around the big end of town. Thanks to our spread throughout Australia and New Zealand, we have really strong relationships with a lot of the bigger corporates out there, both here in Australia and across New Zealand. But there's still work to be done with these guys. We want to make them more accountable. We want to build stronger relationships with them so that whatever their movements are from one consortia partner to another, we're there with them. We don't get left behind. And we'll be asking them to deliver more. From a marketing point of view, you've heard some of those key numbers. With an increase in visitation to needabreak.com, there's no doubt that we'll see an increase in direct bookings to all of your hotels. We'll also see an increase in direct booking to your hotels as we switch the spend. So as you've heard Matt say, we spend a lot of money on traditional media. A great portion of those funds are now going into digital, into Meta. And the great thing about that is there's some really strong ROIs coming through. And then our loyalty program, Choice Privileges. So Choice Privileges member price we launched about 18 months ago. And right now, you offer a discount to our loyal members on your bar rates and your advanced purchase rates. Our intent is to actually make that discount available across all standard rate plans. So in the next coming weeks, promotions will also have that discount applied to them. And you can expect that packages down the track too. So what do we hope we'll get from that? Well, through aggressive marketing, introducing these new rate plans with a discount, we'll hope we'll generate some 2,000 room nights per month. And remember, it's still early days. If you don't think loyalty is important, consider this. 3 weeks ago, thereabouts, Wyndham let the market know that very soon they intend to offer their loyal members a discounted rate of 10% off best available rate. They will now join Choice Hotels, Hilton, Hyatt, and Starwood Marriott as 5 of the biggest hotel chains in the world that offer their member price, as the first rate you see. It's the rate that gets shopped on Meta. We're not hiding behind any login. And the reasons for that are pretty clear. We want to drive more direct business to your hotels with a lower cost of acquisition. And it's working. I read an article on a website called skift.com where the CEO of Expedia, Mark Okerstrom, was quoted. And if you don't know, Expedia's numbers in 2017 were marginally down, both on pure volume and average daily rate. Mark went to say that there's been a shift. He called it a new equilibrium, acknowledging that the work done by some of these huge global chains, including Choice, has resulted in channel shift. Now, we can all throw our hands in the air and say, you know what, we haven't got a hope. These guys are spending billions. But we're coming from a very modest place, and we are seeing channel shift, and this is not going to go away. Our striving to drive more direct business through loyalty to your hotels is a major focus. And nothing that any of our industry colleagues do or threaten us with is going to change that. To put these comments into context, consider this. For every 10 room nights booked via the Expedia platform, captured by Choice, we are now in the very early stages booking 1 Choice Privileges member price room night. Again, not figures that are going to blow you away, but this is just the beginning of something. And if you don't think loyalty is important, I don't know if you've been on Expedia lately. They used to be all about best internet rate guarantee. You can't find it. I challenge you to go onto their website and find it. What do you see instead in a big fat banner across the top? Join our loyalty program. Airbnb, they're changing up their business model. Guess what? They're going with a loyalty program. I'm sure one of the reasons that you're part of the network is to get sales and distribution. But I'm also pretty sure that as an independent, you wouldn't have a loyalty program with 34 million members. So I'm challenging all of us to do a better job. So that ratio of 1 to 10, it has to improve. We're not giving up, and we hope that you won't either. Franchise services. We too have the opportunity to play a part in driving more direct business to your hotels. Over time, we've done a great job collectively of getting more hotels connected to the CRS. Right now, 70% of the portfolio is connected to Choice. And it makes sense because if you want to get the best return on investment, if you want to capitalise on everything that's being done from a sales and marketing point of view to the best of your ability, you need to be connected. So we've still got some work to do there to convince those hotels that aren't connected yet to do it and to do it now. We also need to drive better engagement and utilisation of Rate Centre. We presented you with a tool that made yielding much easier by having predetermined bar levels. But we're seeing some of those bar levels just stay there. No changes in line with demand, set and forget. So in the field support area, we're going to focus on making sure that you're utilising this very powerful tool that can drive better financial results for you. And also, we are going to deploy smart rates this year. Now, I know some of you are going to say, oh, but Anthony, you said that 18 months ago, and you are right. Now, the reason that we don't have smart rates just yet is because all technological effort has gone into the deployment of Choice Edge, which I know many of you are aware is underway, and we are very hopeful, not guaranteeing, but very hopeful by the end, well, very soon, in the next couple of months, that migration will have been completed. We have hundreds of connection partners that we have to get connected to the new platform. But once that work is complete, we'll look to deploy smart rates in this market. Now, we had a smart rates workshop yesterday. We have another one this afternoon. So if you haven't attended that workshop, please do. Because in the US, we're seeing great results through smart rates. 6 to 7% increases in gross rooms revenue just by trusting a system that does a lot of the yielding work for you. But I should also mention, it is not a replacement for revenue management. So when I began speaking with you this morning, I said we had a three-pronged approach to achieve our shared goal of increasing your top-line revenue and lowering cost of distribution. Not entirely true. I see it actually as a four-pronged approach. We need you. We need you to get connected, if you're not already. We need you to make sure that your advanced purchase, your promotions, your package rate plans are open. We need you to be masters of Rate Centre. We need you to push hard on CP. We need to convert those OTA customers into loyal guests. It can be done. But we've got to ask that question. Are you a Choice Privileges member? And finally, we need you to give us rate parity at all times, and we need to make sure that your inventory is open to book so we can deliver to you what you expect from us.
Thanks, Anthony. And what a fantastic way to lead into what the sales team are looking to achieve in 2018. Before I talk about our focus for this year, I just want to take a moment to set the stage for what has happened. Last year, in 2017, the sales team underwent major changes driven by movement. We need to focus on more delivery of corporate new business to your properties. And the main goal in 2017 was to drive new corporate business. And as a result of some of the new strategies we actually implemented last year, we had some fantastic results. Last year in the Australian market, we delivered an additional 19,000 corporate room nights based on the previous year. And in the New Zealand market, we delivered an additional 6,500 corporate room nights. This was a great result, and it set the stage for even greater growth in 2018 and beyond. With the new mindset came new results, and we are focused on dealing directly with our clients, resulting in increased business delivery. You heard Trent mention yesterday that we have changed the way in which we operate with our consortia partners, and Anthony and myself now manage these agreements, enabling us to restructure the contracts and drive more business to you. A great example of this is the Flight Centre Global Product Agreement. We've changed from having a traditional one-year agreement in place to now signing a 5-year preferred supplier agreement with this key partner. And this is enabling us not only to focus on our short-term goals, but also long-term strategies. This year, we will grow consortia business to your properties, and we'll continue to drive corporate business to you all via the GDS. And this will appear either as negotiated rates or on the SPC and SNP rate programs. We are signing and negotiating more and more chain-wide agreements than ever before. And this allows us to drive greater volume business to all of our properties within the group. The team has a target in 2018 of increasing the number of RFPs and tenders that we currently participate in. Also, we're going to be doing this by targeting your competitors' key corporate volume business. On top of this, the team also has a target of making sure that they increase the number of properties that get invited to participate in these RFPs and tenders that we already deal with. This result will be more negotiated rates and business coming into your properties. We'll continue to target new corporates with travel agencies. This is a traditional way that we've always delivered a lot of business to you. However, the team also has a strong brief that we must have direct relationships with these clients as well. And the sales team is also supported by market-leading resources to make sure when we're targeting this business, they have the most up-to-date information at hand. You've heard Trent yesterday and Anthony just before mention about how we are targeting the SME markets. And securing this new business is the most important strategy we'll be executing this year. We'll be doing this by using the SC5 and SC10 rate plans. We'll also use the corporate charge program and choice privileges to create loyalty and have retention. Another area you will see is the new structure of the sales team, and it just shows how focused we are on this new market. Hayley and Tanya have always had an incredibly good proactive approach to driving new business to your properties, and now we're employing business development executives. Alan and Daniel have already started in New South Wales, and we are currently recruiting for the right candidates in Brisbane, Melbourne, and New Zealand, and I look forward to announcing these new recruits in the not-too-distant future. So, on top of all these new strategies that I've put in place, I've also got the team focusing on two key markets I believe will drive substantial new business to our properties. The first is the association business. We are currently engaged with over 4,000 associations across New Zealand and Australia, and whether it be the Country Women's Association of New South Wales or the Master Builders Association in New Zealand, we are promoting new preferred agreements using the SN15 rate plan. The goal is for the team to approach the association and sign them up to these new preferred agreements. We will then help the association distribute these rates to all their members, thus enabling us to have another level of contact. Excuse me. This will also give us the opportunity to target the members and the associations, groups, events, and conferencing business, something I all know you've been asking about recently. The second area in which we'll be focusing on is the construction and infrastructure industries and companies that are carrying out project work in your immediate areas. A lot of you would have heard me talk about this new strategy back at the regional meetings in 2017, and last year we had some great results. However, I believe there's still a lot more business to be had. If you become aware of any projects being carried out in your local area, please don't hesitate to contact someone in the sales team or your FSM. We are hungry to chase down these leads for you and convert them into new direct business. So, with all these new strategies and focuses in place, what does 2018 hold for us? You've heard me speak about the new vision and the focus on driving direct bookings to your properties. We will be working closer with you than ever before, and we'll also be more approachable than ever before. We as a team want to work with you. I believe if we as a group focus on 3 key areas this year, we'll drive substantial new business to all of your properties. The first area is the identification of volume business going to your competitors and actively and aggressively targeting this business and converting it into our own. The second area is converting volume corporate OTA bookings into direct bookings into your properties, and we'll help you do this. And the third is the focus on the construction and infrastructure projects that are being carried out throughout all our communities. Our goals are driven by movement, and we as a sales team must keep ahead of our competitors. We will continue to drive more business to your properties. Since I've taken over the team, I've mentioned the effect of the strategies and the changes that we've made, and also some of those results, especially what happened in 2017 with those additional corporate room nights that were booked. And as I look forward, I've set goals for the team of exceeding these 2017 growth results. We're all very excited for what 2018 holds for us. Thank you.
Great stuff, Pete. Okay, let's now have a look at what 2018 holds from a marketing perspective. We strongly believe, as I said earlier, that we now have a platform from which we can really leverage to ensure this year is highly successful for us all. Coming off the back of a 16% increase in the number of reservations that we drove to your properties through our channels in 2017, we're challenging ourselves to grow this even further this year. There will be many different strategies and initiatives that we implement to make this happen. One of the most important of these will be our needabreak.com platform that we launched. We really believe we are on the right track with this platform. So we'll continue to invest in it, continue to develop it even further, so that it absolutely continues to have relevance for all of our users and ultimately goes on to influence more bookings for all of you. I recently read the results of a survey that was conducted of 1,000 chief marketing officers globally. The survey was essentially asking them where they'd be putting the most focus and budget in 2018. The very clear number one result to come from this survey was the development of a content strategy. This really cemented to us that what we were doing and what we'd undertaken was absolutely correct. You know, it also made me stop in our tracks and really consider that we need to ensure that we stay on our toes, because no doubt there'll be others follow in our footsteps. I strongly believe that since launching this platform last June, we've been one step ahead of most of our competitors in this particular area. A little bit like this guy, Noriaki Kasai, who's a Japanese ski jumper, and at the age of 45, recently competed in his 8th Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang. 8th. Noriaki didn't win a gold medal, didn't win any medal at these particular Olympics. He's previously been both a silver and bronze medalist and won many different world titles. And to have that length of longevity in a career really means he's been at the top of his game for such a substantial period of time and well ahead of his competitors for most of that same period. That's ultimately the mantra that we're challenging ourselves with Need a Break, to ensure that it goes on to have relevance, to ensure that we can capture what our users are wanting from this platform and put forward those developments to stay ahead of our competitors and once again drive revenue for all of you. So you're going to see many different developments come down the line in 2018. Some of these will be about the user experience. Now, when we first developed the platform early last year, we did so with a mobile-first approach in mind. You know what, even in doing that, we underestimated things. Because what we're seeing today is that 85% or over 85% of all traffic coming to the platform is coming through on a device. So consequently, where we're moving to is a mobile-only approach, where every single component of the site is specifically optimized for viewing and access on a device. A really good example of this is the itinerary builder section that we've created. We strongly believe this is functionality that our users want and will use. You know, when they've been accessing it on a device up until now, the engagement rate certainly hasn't been where we probably would like it to. So just in the last couple of weeks, we've undertaken a project to completely redesign the entire user journey in this section. The end result being a much simplified approach, still packed full of functionality, easily allowing people to go through, select the locations they wish to visit, and then go on and select the attractions and accommodation in those locations. It looks great. Jump on and have a look after here if you wish. The thing that we're challenging ourselves, however, with this particular platform is ensuring that every component has the opportunity to generate revenue for us. Now, the accommodation side of things is easy enough, because essentially we can link directly from the Need a Break site, the property pages, and even within the itinerary side of things, and go straight through to the same property pages on the choice websites. The attraction side of things, however, is a little bit more complicated. So what we're undertaking is we're putting in a live integration with Viator. Viator is a TripAdvisor-owned product and the largest reseller of attractions and tours globally. We're currently working with the Viator team to send their live list of all of these attractions and tours directly into the site, so that ultimately when people are on our platform, they can book those attractions and tours then and there. This way we keep them within our environment instead of going off to someone else's platform. So we're really looking forward to that. Some of the other changes that are coming down the line are in regards to the content itself. The expectation of the user is shifting and shifting very quickly. No longer is just text on a page acceptable. So where we're moving to is we want this content to start to really be immersive. We want people to be able to watch something cool, and we want them to be able to digest it quickly. So I'm really pleased to announce this morning that very shortly, we'll be launching our own Need a Break podcast channel. It'll be distributed across Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Anchor, SoundCloud, and many other different distribution platforms. This way people can take our content, they can digest it while they're on the site itself, while they're out for a run, driving their car, or even laying in bed. We really feel this will be a game changer for the site and certainly adds another layer of credibility for us as a brand. Now, something else we've been busily working on is how we approach video for the site. Many of you for a long time would have heard of me talk about the importance of video for all of our content plans. Last year, 55% of all adults living in this country watched some form of online video every single day. So that really shows how important it is. But we need to do it right, and we need to do it in line with what the expectations of the user is. Our traditional approach with video has always been to create 1 to 2 minute videos, as has most other brands. But you know what, with the busy lives that we all live, the reality is that most people don't even get halfway through those videos and their attention span moves to the next thing. So we need to change our approach. We need to question what is the user going to want. Therefore, we're moving to a format that we're calling snackable video, and really snackable content overall. Instead of having 60-second, 90-second or 2-minute videos, we'll move to a format of, for example, 20 seconds. And each one of those videos will have a micro approach, all targeting one key message, allowing the user to digest that content very quickly and only have to watch the components that is actually relevant to them. Only watch the components that really hits their needs and their wants, really personalising this overall approach. So that's many of the different developments that are coming down the line with Need a Break. There'll certainly be others as well. But outside of Need a Break, we have lots of other exciting stuff happening as well, all aimed at generating revenue opportunities for all of you. A good example of this is where late last year we launched into a series of different new meta campaigns. Now, I've had a lot of questions from many of you over this over the past couple of months. So I thought I'd take the opportunity this morning just to go through it in a little bit more detail. We'll have a look at Google. Most of you would know that within Google right now, you have a Google business listing, which is the information that comes up on the right-hand side of the Google search results page when someone does a search for your property. Within this listing, there's the book a room function. Traditionally, you would have seen all of the OTAs listed in this area, all fighting for prime position to try and secure business for your property. Now, however, you'll also see the Choice Hotels website listed here. Now, we're essentially bidding against all of those OTAs on a cost per click basis, really fighting for prime position in this area. We don't always, though, aim to be in position 1, because what we know is that people when searching for accommodation, like to do a comparison check. So what we see is that position 2, 3, and often even 4 convert almost just as well as what position 1 does. In terms of the rates that we feed into here, it's all about our leisure rates and all about the lowest price of the day. This ultimately includes advanced purchase, like in this particular example, if the booking's for the required number of days out. What we're not feeding in here just yet is member price. It will come. However, how we represent member price right now, if it is the lowest price, we strike out the bar price and then we put a text caption alongside which says get 5% off with free enrolment. Now, we're only a few months in with Google. However, already we're seeing results come through at a 7 to 8 times ROI, one of our best performing channels in the digital space. So we'll absolutely be continuing to invest into this in 2018 and optimising it even further to drive more reservations, ultimately all for you through the Choice channels. Similarly with Trivago, you all have a listing within Trivago. And if you go on there right now, you'll see that the Choice website is listed there as the hotel website within all of your particular listings. We're literally only 6 weeks in with Trivago, but already we're seeing a 5+ times ROI being generated. So once again, we will work with the Trivago team to ultimately increase the optimisation and ultimately increase that result even further throughout this year. But there's other channels as well. Many of you for some time would know that we've been partnered with TripAdvisor. It's always been one of our best performing channels that we've had from a marketing perspective. We're currently working with the TripAdvisor team as well to continue this, looking for new opportunities to continue this revenue growth through this particular channel. But we're also looking forward to bringing on new channels this year. For example, Kayak, Cheap Flights, Hotels Combined, and there'll be a range of others as well. All of these channels ultimately aimed at generating new business for all of you that you probably ultimately wouldn't have received otherwise back through our direct channels. You know what? The thing though, however, that will ultimately determine success for all of you in this space is your ability to give us rate parity. Unfortunately, all too often, we're seeing examples like this. And to be quite frank, it's a waste of time bidding on a property like this and quite embarrassing for the brand when all of the prices are listed there and the choice price is the highest rate. There's no chance of a booking coming through in that particular example. So if we continue to see examples like this from any property, we will have to stop bidding for that particular property. Let's change track slightly. Let's look at some of the other digital channels that we're investing in 2018. Dynamic remarketing. Now, I'm really excited by this because I think it will be really powerful for us. We've always had remarketing campaigns run, where if someone comes to our website, they then leave, we can drop a pixel on their computer, track them across any other website they go and visit, and serve them up ads. Now, traditionally, I've had my graphics team put those ads together, and all of those ads have been the same for every single user. In the dynamic context, however, what we do is we create those ads on the fly, and we create them based on data and behavioural intent that we know about each individual user. So every single person ends up with a different ad. A good example of this is here. Someone comes to our website. They search for Perth accommodation on March 3rd. They come through to the results page and then select the Quality Hotel Ambassador over in Perth. They go to that properties page, they have a look around at the different rates that are available, and then specifically go in and have a look at that advanced purchase rate. Unfortunately though, they leave the website after that. Not sure why, but they do. At that point though, we've already dropped a pixel on their computer. We've captured the exact search query that they were after. We know what their need and what their want was. So we can go about personalising that and creating it literally on the fly. So if they flick to another website straight away, they'd straight away receive an ad like this. Looking for Perth accommodation. It specifically shows the Quality Hotel Ambassador. And then it specifically shows the exact advanced purchase rate that they were looking at. All then with a very strong book now call to action back through Choice Hotels. We know from a range of other data that we have access to that this will absolutely improve conversion for us across the Choice websites. Ultimately today, we probably would have lost this customer and probably wouldn't have had another opportunity to re-engage them and get the booking back. But being able to come up with the approach, which is so much more personalised and tailored to exactly what they're after, will absolutely improve that conversion dramatically. Now, another program that we're launching is a new affiliate marketing program. We'll be going out and partnering with a range of large and small websites, all with the intent of offering them a commission for any traffic that they send back to the Choice channels, which then goes on and makes a reservation. This is already a program that operates very successfully in our US market and which many other e-commerce sites use. So we know, once again, that this will certainly generate a lot of new business for all of you. Outside of these digital channels, there'll also be a range of other traditional marketing continue throughout the year. Our partnership with Channel 9's Today Breakfast Show will run through until the end of April. Our TV commercials will continue to run in all regional markets across Australia on Prime 7 and Southern Cross. Likewise, over in New Zealand, they'll continue to run on TVNZ1 and TVNZ2 for the year. Just last week, we launched a new outdoor billboard campaign. For those of you who have come in from the airport over the last few days, you hopefully would have seen this specific sign on the inbound on the Tullamarine Freeway, on the Brunswick Road overpass. There's many other billboards like that right now all around the country, all having impact and getting people talking about our brands once again. So it's certainly exciting, and there's lots to look forward to. All of this is all aimed at driving new business for you all through the Choice proprietary channels, ultimately to increase your top line revenue and decrease your distribution costs. You know, as exciting as all of this is, there's one other opportunity that's out there right now, which we have to do so much more with. Trent's spoken about it, Anthony's spoken about it. Choice privileges. Trent mentioned yesterday how even today, with 350,000 members in this particular region, we're still only enrolling 2% of all guests coming to your properties. Guys, we have to do better than that. We're spending so much time and money collectively on trying to acquire new guests. If we just put a little bit more attention into engaging more with our existing ones, gee, I tell you what, the difference would be absolutely unbelievable. So that's why, again, this year, we're going to be asking all of you to enrol another 30,000 members at your properties. We'll put in place a range of different incentives and motivations for you and your staff. At a minimum, there'll be a $1,000 Visa card available every month. Every staff member will get an entry into the draw to win this $1,000 for every single member that they enrol during that month. My team will have more information out about this over the coming week for you all. There's going to be 3 key messages that we really strongly push through the Choice Privileges program this year. The first is all about our member price. We've spoken about it a lot over the last couple of days and will continue to, because we strongly believe in what it stands for. And ultimately, we want everyone to know that in order to get the lowest price available through Choice Hotels, you must be a Choice Privileges member and obviously then go on and book the member price. The second key message will be all about the Choice Hotels app. We ultimately want more people downloading this app in this particular region. Choice have invested millions of dollars into the technology that sits behind it, and we strongly believe it's one of the best in market today. Now, this message becomes particularly relevant because very shortly, we're going to be moving to a digital-only model of Choice Privileges. We're going to be moving away from having the physical cards and instead asking all members to download the app and present the digital version of the card every time they check in at your property. Once again, there'll be more information out about this over the coming months, but this is the intent and this is where we're heading to very quickly. The last key message is then all about driving incremental stays to all of you. We ultimately want these members taking these short breaks that we know that they want to take. So we'll be coming up with ways to be able to influence them and inspire them to do that. This year, we're going to embark on a series of micro campaigns. Traditionally, we've had 2 large campaigns run for the year. But this year, you're going to see many other campaigns, all having a very micro, smaller focus running for a shorter period of time. An example of this could be where we go about incentivising people to be able to book the member price by offering them a wellness prize. You know, though, to ensure that you absolutely know what's coming down the line next, the important thing for all of you this year is to ensure you're engaging with My Choice Hotels. This is ultimately Choice's primary communication channel. I need all of you, when you go back to your properties, to ensure that you have a process in place for either yourself or your staff to be regularly logging into this platform so you absolutely know what is coming down the line next. There's an absolute plethora of information on there, and so please ensure that you are on there. So it's an exciting time, that's for sure. There is lots to look forward to. There's many, many new initiatives, and there's going to be many, many new opportunities for all of you throughout 2018. We're absolutely driven to drive as many new bookings as we possibly can through all of Choice's proprietary channels in 2018. So please, we really want you all to jump on board with us and come for the ride.
Matt, I think the folks in the room are going to have no choice but to log on to My Choice because there's a lot to get your head around.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we've talked a lot about driving new business into your properties with lower costs of acquisition. But one thing that gets overlooked from time to time is what's happening with your existing demand. Are we optimising what's there? You know, our industry is kind of unique. We're not selling tins of soup. And I know that's a prophetic statement. We're selling accommodation rooms. The point is that we can put tins of soup on a shelf. If they're not sold tonight, who cares? We'll have another go at selling them tomorrow. Hotel rooms don't work that way. If we don't sell them tonight at the right rate, at the right level, it's a missed opportunity. Choice revenue management is all about not missing those opportunities and instead maximising them. I said in our workshops yesterday, choice revenue management is not about delivering new business to your property, but it is optimising the demand that is currently being delivered to your property in the good and the bad times to make sure that we're squeezing every single dollar out of our guests to increase our top line revenue. We launched Choice Revenue Management in September last year. We currently have 7 hotels utilising the program, 1 revenue manager. To date, the results have been astounding. Our 7 properties over 4 months have seen an average increase in gross rooms revenue of 16%. So that involves a revenue manager looking at your hotel's performance now compared to same time last year. The revenue manager also looks at your comp set. What's happening with their pricing? What's happening with the market? They look at your room type setup, all with that very simple goal of increasing your revenues. We held 2 workshops yesterday for revenue management, and they were, well, first one was sold out, the second one was also very well attended. I now have to go and find a 3rd revenue manager because I filled our 2nd revenue manager who starts the middle of March. She's got a full plate already. So there's huge demand. We see this as a linchpin and a key offering of Choice moving forward. Unlike the traditional sales relationship where you build partnerships over time, you submit rates, you work hard for that business, you and the sales team, revenue management gives you immediate gains. All because there is one individual with significant experience monitoring your rate strategy and executing on that strategy every single day. We want you to do the things that you are good at. That is looking after your guests, managing the operations, looking after the F&B. Let us take the worry out of revenue management for you. The results speak for themselves. So if you are interested in the program, yes, we've got a full complement, but we're hiring more revenue managers. Please let either myself or your field support manager know. We'd love to have a further chat with you in regards to this service. Connectivity is something I spoke about earlier, and the importance of getting connected to the Choice CRS to realise the full potential of the system. Those of you who've been with us for some time would know that we've talked a lot about Choice Advantage being the primary way, the preferred way to connect into the CRS, and that is still our view. But over the journey, we've come to realise that CA, for whatever reason, is not for every property. So we've worked with industry colleagues in SiteMinder to devise a new way of connecting into the Choice CRS, and it's called Site Connect. Some of you may have already heard of it. We have 12 hotels using the Site Connect interface as of right now, with more coming down the pipeline. So let me do my best to give you a very simple explanation of how that interface actually works, with the help of our diagram there. The Site Connect interface essentially allows you to run whatever property management software you want. So from an operational standpoint, day to day, you're not really impacted. No new system to learn. Then we have the Site Connect interface, and then we have our CRS. So what happens? We take a real-time feed of your rates and availability that exist in your said property management system. That information is passed through Site Connect to the Choice CRS in real time. Conversely, any reservations that we make and are delivered by any of those distribution channels you see up on the screen, they'll come into your property management system seamlessly in real time. Another way to think about it is, imagine the Choice CRS as another channel that you would activate on your channel manager. Your channel manager having to be SiteMinder in this case. The main difference is that you never turn the Choice channel off like you would others. So we do have last room sell, but that's important because it allows us to deliver more business into your hotels. We launched Site Connect with a test site in August, the Quality Hotel Dixon in Canberra. And in the first 3 months, CRS delivery over that period increased 500 nights. And it's got to be because that door's always open for us to send bookings through. The other good thing about Site Connect, it's very easy to set up. It's days, it's not weeks. I mentioned CA though, and here's why we're still bullish about CEA. And here's why we want hotels to ultimately connect in this fashion if the fit is right. In 2017, Choice Advantage properties enjoyed a 6% increase in RevPAR. So what did non-CA properties do? Well, they didn't enjoy a 1% decrease in RevPAR. Now, this is very much in line with what we've seen over the last 6 years, that CA properties from a RevPAR point of view outperform non-CA properties. So that's why we push this wagon and we push it hard. It's also because as new technology advancements come down the line, such as Rate Centre and Smart Rates, well, they're all built on the Choice Advantage platform. And you can bet that other technological advancements that come down the line will be based on the Choice Advantage platform. And it's really important for you to start considering your options if you're not connected, because we're actually mandating that by the end of 2019, all Choice hotels will need to be connected to the CRS in one way or another. The marketing space, the sales space, it's the same real hard push on driving direct business. The pressure then comes back on us to deliver on that promise that's being marketed to. And standards play a part in this. So from a standards point of view, over the last 12 months, we've just had a really good look at the Medallia data to see what our customers ultimately saying about our hotels. And through that analysis and that deep dive, a couple of things became very evident. When it came to comfort of bedding, we're achieving an average score of 6.9 out of 10. You might recall that at the beginning of last year, 2017, we were all set to deploy our bedding standards as it related to the mattress of the bed. We lined those up and worked with our preferred suppliers to have minimum standards for each of the brands. But we took a pause because we thought, given what the data is telling us, that's really a half measure. It's a good step in the right direction, but it's a half measure. So now we've devised standards around the top of bed. We're requiring that all Choice properties adopt triple sheeting if they haven't already. And we'll also have minimum standards as it relates to pillows, for example. We're working through those standards again with our preferred suppliers, and as soon as they are available, we will share them with you. And at some point in the near future, they'll be implemented and assessed via the QAR. Now, the other area where there was some work to be done or opportunity was quality of internet. I don't need to tell you guys how important that is. It doesn't matter if you're a leisure or a business guest, you need good Wi-Fi. So how did we fare? Well, we got a score of 7.9 out of 10 on quality of internet, which is pretty good. But let's put that into perspective. Our current likelihood to recommend score is actually 8.43 out of 10. So we can do some work here. And we think if we take the initiative here and establish some standards that will put us at the front end of the market, that'll almost become a unique selling proposition for us. Because some people will choose to say where they get the best internet. And we see that as being a real point of difference. So what's important? What can you expect from the standards? Well, we think, let's start with one-time login. I don't know about you, but being handed multiple tickets to log in after every 100 meg that I've used, not user-friendly, kind of frustrating. So one-time login. I check in, I'm logged into the network for all time. Multiple devices. I travel with a laptop, I've got an iPad, I've got an iPhone. And because I'm a social media junkie, I've got to be connected, man, all the time. So I need multiple devices to be connected. But most important of all is speed. Why is it important? 60% of people that use hotel Wi-Fi networks are accessing that network so that they can stream their own content. Netflix, Stan, YouTube, whatever it is. So it's important that we have the bandwidth and the speed to satisfy our guests in this regard. So we're thinking about a minimum download speed of about 3.5 megabits per second. Now we know that not all regional areas are set up just yet to achieve these kind of speeds. So we'll work with properties over time to get to these minimum standards. But we think the sooner we do this, the better the opportunity to capitalise, because this is what the future is telling us. So again, once these standards are finalised, we will share them with you. But if you're curious about the expectations of the guest, or you're curious as to how your current network might stack up against some of those standards I've just shared with you, then please visit with our preferred suppliers live port in the marketplace. They can give you their expertise in this area and maybe even solve these issues for you or set up your network. So thank you for your time this morning. We know there's a lot to take in. We hope that you get a sense of where to from here in terms of sales, marketing and franchise services, and that the drive for more direct business into your hotels is already in full swing. To get to our final destination, we need to work together. We need to work together to increase your top-line revenue, to lower distribution costs. We need, from you, engagement. We need parity and we need connectivity. We can't maintain the status quo. We need to be nimble, we need to adapt, but most of all, we need to be driven by movement. Thank you.
Thank you.